Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be making this little flicker card. But before I get started, I wanted to tell you about a few of the people who I follow on Instagram who are making really beautiful projects. The first is Astrid. She's making this file folder book. She attached the cover to her binding, and as she makes each card, she's inserting it as she goes along. And I just thought that was such a unique approach. The second is Beth, who does these wonderful index cards through collage, and she uses such beautiful colors. Please check them both out. The info is in the caption. And now for today's Flickr video. Hello, welcome to the next video in my index card series. I'm going to make another bird piece in this video. And for the base of the page, I'm planning to use an envelope that I make with the envelope punch board. And this piece here is going to become my envelope. I think this envelope is going to be layered over this one, similar to my last card with the nuthatch. And this flicker is going to be my focal point. That's as much as I know so far. And I'm going to just play with these pieces and see what I come up with. But step one is to take this piece of 6x6, make an envelope. And this is going to be the same size as my last envelope. So it's 6x6, and I'm going to punch and score at 2 3/8. Punch. And score. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, line up my line here. Punch. And score. Line up my line again at 90 degrees. Punch. Oops. Oops. That's better. Punch. And score. I'm going to try the medium-sized one. I like that. This punch just works a little bit better than the punch on the punch board. Last one. So this will be my base. I'm gonna just ink the edges of this and glue it together, and then I'll be right back. So I've made my envelope, inked the edges, I've glued it together, and I've made a slit on the side using my paper knife, one of my bookmaking supplies. And now I'm going to think about how I'm going to layer this. So I've got this beautiful Flickr image, a vintage trading card, and I want to use a piece of mica on top of it. The last time I used mica, I did it as a window envelope. I think this time I wanted to layer on top of this envelope rather than appearing through the window, just so I can get sort of a messier look on top. I was thinking about maybe using this little slide frame to frame it, but I don't think I want to hide that much of the bird, and I don't want to damage my trading card, so I'm going to use these little corners to hold the trading card down to the envelope. And I might try to incorporate this is a real vintage envelope. It actually has some watch parts in it. Oh look, another surprise. This is a mainspring. I might try to incorporate this just because I like the color of it with these other colors. So we will see. Put it up here for now, and maybe a button somewhere. So that's as far as I've gotten. I think I also have this stamp pulled out, and I've got this hinge ready. I might try to use this slide frame in another way. It does pull out the gray on the head of the flicker, so I might try to use some part of that. And I'll also look in my bird book to see if I have a description of the flicker. My little bird pages. It's actually kind of a broken book, because it would be nice to have a reveal when I flip this open. So that is as far as I've gotten. And I think that the next step might be to attach my bird trading card down to my envelope and see if there's some way that I can incorporate that mica while I'm doing it. So I like to ink these corners before I use them. So I inked up my corners right on this little piece of plastic that they come attached to. And I think they actually turned out a lot better than when I tried to sort of do my inking in the air. You can see how they look when we put them on the flicker. I think it's kind of good. It looks a little bit more random. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim the edge of this so that it fits right inside that corner. Okay, I've trimmed the edge of that, and I'm just going to stick my corners back on. I kind of like that. I don't know how visible it is in the picture, but this edge is kind of ragged, and it just adds a little bit of sort of distressed look to the card. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to put a dab of glue on the back corners of each of these. Looks like that one is gonna stick outside, but I'm not unhappy with that. I think it's kind of cool. So I'm gonna put a dab of glue on the back of each of these and attach them all at once. To my envelope. Try to do this all at once, and the glue grabs very slowly, so I'll have a little bit of time to mess with it and straighten it out, because the corners are always just a little bit askew. So before I press down, I want to make sure that I've got it perfectly square. I don't know why I have to have it perfectly square when I'm embracing imperfection, but for some reason there are certain things that I want to be right, and I think it is the collage works a lot better if the pieces are parallel. So I think I'm happy with that. I want the hinge to be about that size. Because it only needs to come up to that point on the envelope. And before I commit to the sideways envelope, I just want to think about how that's going to look stacked with these. And I think that's going to be fine. One of the things I like about making books is the challenge of trying to anticipate how all of the pieces are going to fit together. So all the way through, I try not to just think about a page as being an individual page, but about how it's going to look with the entire book when it's put together. Because I have made pages for books that I didn't include before. I have just a little bit more work to do on my little bird page, this Flickr page. Since the last time, I've added a hole onto my envelope so that I can tie a piece of twine onto the end. And I've thought about how I'm going to place these pieces. The next step is to glue on this envelope and to add a magnet to this envelope. And I'm going to add the magnet right under here. And so the next step is just to layer these things together, somewhere around there, and then this a little bit lower. I really love this little vintage envelope, and the color just looks so beautiful with the Flickr card. I want this to be placed lower. Okay, hold on. Let me finish what I'm doing, and then I'll come and get you. That looks right. Oh, my poor Basset Hound Buttercup. She is so upset that she can't be in here every minute. Okay, so I've got my little envelope with my Flickr glued down, and this will go on the inside as a reveal. I've placed my first magnet inside the envelope right here, and so I need another magnet right down here to hold it in place. So if I do this and that, I know exactly where my magnet needs to go. And then I can put a little glue on the magnet. And then just press down like this. The magnet should be in exactly the right spot. So that when I glue this over the top of it, it just clicks right down. So this is going to be the next piece. It's going to cover the magnet there. So I'm just going to glue down my little flicker description. Like the nuthatch page that I did 2 videos ago. It's really very similar to this page, but I took the flicker description from the same little old book that the nuthatch description came from, and I really like to do that because it gives you the look of it being something that's like an old field guide. That is better. And I have this little description of the nests and the range that I'm going to tuck right inside of this little pocket. I'm going to check on Buttercup because she's getting into something, and then I'll come back and do a little bit more collage. So I've added my magnet and glued down this little flicker description, and the next step is to add some collage pieces. I'm going to put that circle there because it softens the angles of the rectangular pieces. I think this stamp looks like it wants to be here. This is a real stamp, and then this stamp from the newest Tim Holtz collection of Ideology. This is going to fit perfectly in this corner. So I have these 2 pieces to glue down, and I'm almost finished. There. I'd love to be able to add a button, but it would get in the way of the magnet holding this little envelope closed. So I think I may end it there. I could put this little specimen piece on, but I really like the angles that these 2 make, and I don't want to cover that up. So I think all I'm going to do is add my twine here. I thought about doing this. I think it's going to be too heavy. Likewise, I think this button is too heavy. So for now, I'm going to add my twine and call this one finished. So my little flicker page is finished, and I'm thinking about the next page, which will be in the next video, but these are some pieces that I've pulled out. I have this little brown creeper, and this is just a coin envelope that you can get at any stationery store like Staples. And I've made this little file folder out of 49 in Market paper. And I'm going to turn it into a file folder by adding this little tab. So that's the plan for the next video.